Alright, hear me out. This is, for lack of a better word, this is going to be my theory about how Game of Thrones is going to end, even though my chances of this actually being true are incredibly slim to none. The video. For context, if you have not watched up to Season 8, Episode 4 of Game of Thrones, you should probably click off of this video, because at the time of recording, the 4th episode of the 8th season has come out. I will be discussing plot points that have happened up to and at that point, so if you haven't watched any of that, spoiler warning for everything ahead. I'm going to be detailing my proposal for what I think could happen at the end of the show. Now, to be frank, I have discussed this with people, and most of the people I've discussed this with think I've gone batshit crazy. I think what I'm saying makes perfect sense, so for the sake of solidarity, I'm putting this out there for the sake of keeping a record straight. If the premiere happens for the final episode, and I end up being wrong, I'm more than willing to admit that I'm wrong, because, again, very, very low chance that what I'm about to say is actually going to happen, but it makes just enough sense to where I'm like, I just want to put it out there. I hate the kind of people where, after the fact, they just kind of go, aha, I said this all along, I was right the whole time, it's just kind of bullshit, because anyone can say that. They're like, well, I knew this was going to happen, it's so predictable, I'm so smart. So, without further ado, my proposal, at least for what I think could happen, is that Samwell Tarly will sit on the Iron Throne by the end of this series. I know, it sounds absurd, but just roll with me on this, alright? Think of this. The number one thing that's going to support this theory is, when has the show done anything in regards to what is fitting for a character or a set of events? Almost never, alright? Think about this. It would have been very great for the events of the Red Wedding to not have happened. It fucked up everything, but it happened anyway. It would have been great if Ned Stark was king. It didn't happen. He died. It would have been great if the Mountain had lost his battle and he didn't kill his opponent and Tyrion would have been free. That didn't happen. There's so many things in this show that do not go according to plan, where the most ideal and happiest endings just do not happen, where the people who are most suited for a position do not get that position, and this show is great about setting up these wants and desires and snatching them from you. It's not the only thing the show has going, but it is something that's fairly consistent. Keep this in mind, because who's most suited for the throne right now? Right now, Cersei already has the throne. Pretty well suited for it. Daenerys has armies and dragons and a royal lineage, also very suited for the throne. And is kind of a tyrant, wants to rule. Perfectly suitable. Then you have Jon, via the revelations of these episodes, who has people who look up to him, a lot of battle experience, also has a royal lineage. He's also very fitting for the throne. So you have those three. Those are like the big three. The person who has it, the person who wants it, and the person who is best fit for it. But note what they say in the show. Something along the lines of the person who is best suited to be king is someone who doesn't want it. They're pointing towards Jon. The thing you have to understand is that he's basically been a leader for most of the show. After a lot of sort of trials and tribulations, he does end up being a leader for most people. Here's the thing. That is great. He's a good character, he's a great leader, and I don't think the show is going to give us a satisfying conclusion with him with that. They just won't give us what we want. So, that's part number one. Do you know how many people would be upset, if not just completely off-put by the idea of Sam being put there, both in-show and out-show? It's exactly something that they would put forward, in my opinion, based on what we see here, alright? That's the first thing to kind of go over. The second thing of note is Sam is the only living member of his house. Technically, he is the lord of his home, since everyone else in his family is dead. Alright? he has a potential to go up for this. Also remember, he's a scholar, he's a good warrior, alright? He's Sam the Slayer. He's a person who was on the Night Watch, the first person in this here, like, people in, like, the modern era to have been recorded killing a White Walker. You know, discarding a few different characters who have been doing this for a while or did it a long time ago. He's one of the first in the modern set of characters to have been known to kill a White Walker. So, you have all that, plus other amazing sort of stories to kind of bolster his reputation. You know, he went into the wilds and he came back alive. He approached one of the, you know, generals of the White Walkers, if you remember from one of the previous seasons, and he just let him go, you know, and you can spin that yarn, you know, it could be like, you know, a White Walker general came up to him and knew better than to fight the great Sam the Slayer. It's that sort of stuff, the sort of yarns you could spin about tall tales of great battles, right? Continuing this theme, what you have to consider is the future of the series. Because even though it's ending, the thing that I think the show likes to put forward is that this isn't the end of everything. There's not going to be, like, an end to war, there won't be an end to conflict, there'll always be someone going on the throne, and you need to set up for future conflicts. I guarantee you there's going to be, like, spin-offs or other stuff that they're going to push forward. HBO isn't stupid. They know this is one of their cash cows, so ending it right now would be, well, something I think is only going to be temporary. So keep this in mind. Look at all the comparisons that you can make for Sam and King Baratheon from the beginning of the series. Alright? They're both people who don't, at first glance, seem ideal for the throne. They have lots of ties to all the other houses. They're both larger set fellas who not only have their own children, but they have bastards. Jon's first kid is not his own, and they have a kid on the way. All of this leaves great setup for potential future drama, like who will succeed the throne. You'd have the firstborn being the most ideal. It could be revealed through some drama or some other implications that some will say, well, he's a bastard, and that'll cause some turmoil. And not to mention, a lot of people will probably say, well, he's not fit for the throne, and they'll want Jon or one of the Starks to come up. That is absolutely rife with potential future drama, so having any of the other characters up there, it won't work. In the sense of, having any of the three characters I named is too predictable, so it's not likely to happen. And most of them just, like I said, they don't have kids on the way. They don't have anything else going for them that we can demonstrate right now. So it leaves out potential room for future controversies and plot developments. At least ones we can definitively prove. So that's kind of where I'm getting at. Sam does not want to lead, but he might need to if all of the other people who are big set rulers are going to die. And they've been alluding to this idea that he's got some more importance to him than they first let on. That's my basis for all of this. He's not fitting for it, in-universe or out, and everything else I discussed. This is honestly not a super in-depth theory, it's just kind of postulating based on patterns I've seen in the show. So, let me know what you think in the comments. I can be almost certain that most of you are going to say that I'm crazy, and you know what? We only have to wait a couple weeks to see. And this isn't going to be like an I told you so moment, because this is, let's say this, like I said, like 5% chance, let's say even 1% chance that this happens. Let's say that I actually end up being right. I'm not even going to be smug or condescending or I told you so about it. I'm going to be, like, losing my mind. I'm going to be like, how the fuck was I right? I'm going to be like, that's crazy. I shouldn't be. You know? So, but that would like to know, you know, after the fact. So let me know what you think down in the comments, if you disagree or how you disagree and how that goes, and I'll probably do a post-season recap of this, possibly, or even just something in the description or in one of the comments, but we'll see. See you then.